right, Kelly Haydu,
Hey.
CarGurus from Boston to San Francisco. RSA, baby. What's
RSA.
going on?
Oh, you know, living the dream.
Kelly, I have been chasing you and stalking you to do this interview for so long. But then you started stalking me.
Well, the car, I mean.
Dude, the truck is wild, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I work for a car company, so when you see an outlandish car or truck or whatever, you have to stop
right?
and look at it. Yeah, go big or go home.
But you are so good with attention, honestly. Like whenever because you are like, to some people, like, you know, they feel like, oh, well, you know, I'm like okay with it, but you are like a star. You know, you just go
You're
in.
a star.
No, I mean, you are comfortable. It's amazing.
Oh, well.
It's amazing because some people is like, oh, I'm gonna just hide, but you're like, what's up? How's it going?
You know, I don't typically care about what people think.
Yeah.
You know.
No, you gotta be like yourself, right?
Yeah, go with it.
Exactly. I think so much of why am I in the middle of the road? I think they crossed at the wrong time. But you know, because of the RSA conference, we're able to come together, and I think that's the beautiful thing, right? We can go in and come together, and I still owe you a jacket eventually, but you know, it's awesome to actually have you here in my hometown.
I'll steal George's coat.
You know,
I mean, he's in Rhode Island. So.
George got a new LV bag today, so for what it's worth.
Oh, you gave him the LV bag?
Did you see it? You didn't see it?
I didn't see it. You only showed me the pictures.
Oh yeah, I just gave it to him. It was his birthday gift.
Oh.
Not birthday, but he closed
Did
the
he go
Fortune
banana?
100. He
Yeah.
was very happy. I'm happy for him, you know, because you know, for me this was a big passion project, Kelly. And so like when everyone joined me, it's crazy because they do put their families on. I mean, like not at risk, but like I didn't think it was a risk, but you know, they always get questions, right? Hey, we're joining this. I mean, you're joining this Kunal guy. Did I tell you that? That's how I actually got people to join.
Crazy.
Talk to their wives. Talk to their husbands.
They're the ones that run it at the end of the day.
Yeah, they run the show.
I couldn't do what I do without my husband. And by the way, he works and he's in tech. Mm-hmm. But it's a collaborative, a partnership. Yeah, and then so much of that is it actually empowers you to do better. I wouldn't know. I don't have a wife, but that's okay. But I have to ask, like, I mean, obviously you've lived in Boston or area for a while, right? Oh yeah, like I'll just date myself. It's over 25 years.
Wow. And so like, how in the world did you get into cyber? Because I actually love to understand.
So when I worked at Hasbro years ago, I was at really the top of where I could go from a quality perspective. And I'm like always itching to learn something new. Mm-hmm. I also look at industry trends as well, right? Okay,
but like, so you were at Hasbro. So what would you do on a daily basis?
So I helped build their testing center of excellence. So they brought me
the toys or for the
No, for their systems.
So like these systems would be doing
quality assurance. Like we would test before a release went out.
Oh wow.
To make sure that, you know, we put automation in place.
So these would like go into the stores or the digital part, or how would it work?
So we had a digital retail platform at the time that we were launching, an e-commerce platform. And obviously, if you're doing online transactions, so you want to make sure it's tested. So
did you have to do the whole PCI stuff and test that and all the credit card data and everything like that too?
We had to test everything, yeah. And then we also had back office systems, right, that would run our order management and finance applications. And so you can imagine during the toy season.
Yeah.
You're going to have an influx of orders.
Wait, that's so cool. I've never heard that before, because basically you were in the quality part and then you got to see all these technical parts of the system. But then how did you jump from there to the cyber side?
So here's the thing. I always had to test for security.
All
right. So I own server labs. You have to test SSL certs.
Okay. Of course.
You have to make sure that if you, back in the day, you're shipping drives out to folks.
They're free of malware.
Yeah, they have to be encrypted, right? And
so you had to learn about all these things that basically are core tenets of security, regardless.
And you know what the core tenet of security really is?
Mm-hmm.
It's risk.
Yeah.
It's risk. And so when you are actually shipping a product and you have to put your name on it to say, hey,
this is free.
This meets the quality standard. at the end of the day, if you're going to have a risk, you have to highlight what that risk is.
Fair.
And then you have to have, either the VP of engineering and some smaller organizations like the CEO sign off on the fact that they're okay shipping something that could have a defect in it. And let's be clear, everything has defects in it.
Yeah. I mean, I learned this the most. The reason why I mentioned about the toys and pieces like that is because when I was in Symantec, I had built a hardware product, and there's the PVT, DVT type of thing, and it was crazy complicated. Even, what is the amount of a scratch you can have on something or things like that. But basically, when you're doing this QA thing, actually I started off as a QA engineer, so I can completely get it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I just, that concept and, is so powerful because you're the one is this the correct certificate? Is it the right cert chain? When is it going to be out of date? Is there a process for it? What about this? What about that?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not so straightforward, right?
Yes. If you're shipping software to a medical device, you could potentially be affecting human life.
Fair.
So you have to be really sure.
Hey, this is definitely going to work.
Yes, and there's risk involved. So I came from a heavy risk and compliance background, coupled with the tech of running those server labs and doing all of the testing. I taught myself how to code, and I'm ready for the next big challenge. I get bored easily, and security is such a wide space.
Yeah.
There's so much to it. And,
so what was the first true security job? I mean, I would not say the first true one, but like I had that sort of cybersecurity angle to it, because this is all cybersecurity. Everything you're mentioning is cyber, right?
I joined an organization to really start their program and build it, and also manage release engineering. And what I found was when I joined that building a program is building a program. Now, there's obviously technical components that you need to know in the field, but socializing, security awareness, adoption, learning to speak the business.
Yeah.
So many CISOs that are out there today have changed their outlook. They went from technical CISOs that may have, been a SOC analyst and grew up their career through that way, to having that mind shift of, hey, if I'm going to get anything done, or if I need to talk to the board or get budget or what have you, I need to align with the business.
Yeah.
And talk business speak, so that they know exactly why I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do to empower and enable the business to move faster, not slower.
Yeah, so like when you went into, and now, I mean, coming from there, your humble beginnings, let's call it, to being in CarGurus, where you're running a variety of things, right?
Right.
But do you think that like directly impacted your experience and capability of what you're doing every day today, being in QA?
Definitely.
And that's mainly because, I mean, this stuff has to work, right? I mean, that's the thing with cyber in general. It needs to work well.
So, I oversee IT and enterprise applications for CarGurus as well.
Yeah, okay.
And again, having that quality background, I managed quality labs.
Yeah.
Racking and stacking servers and upgrading things and troubleshooting those environments.
So there's like a direct relation, right?
Definitely.
You would understand. But I think that you speaking the same language as, everyone that's doing a lot of the day-to-day work as well is so important, right? If you're not speaking on the same wavelength or language, it doesn't work, no?
From an engineering perspective,
absolutely.
Of course. You're not going to have the respect of an engineer if you can't communicate with them and know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
On the other side, you have to be able to talk to somebody in finance, marketing, sales, and translate that tech speak to what they understand.
So what's the relation to sales from like your day-to-day from you? Is it because do you have to speak to some of those kind of external parties as part of your job? Because sometimes people like their CISOs, they have to talk to constituents. But I mean, I'm guessing you don't have to talk to the normal day-to-day buyer that uses CarGurus every day.
From a consumer standpoint, no. Our listings business is driven by dealerships. So dealerships will use our product to list their inventory to get consumers to come and buy it. So the dealerships, do they ask you about cyber? Yeah, I mean, there's different compliance laws now that have come into effect.
Wait, but when they use your product,
That's okay.
When they use your product, so they list their cars, so they have to list their inventory. They must have some sort of like a feed to CarGurus, right?
They do. They usually will use a partner to feed that inventory.
Nice.
But I guess my point is, you have to be able to talk to the business.
Yeah.
And in prior organizations, to answer your question around sales directly, I can't tell you the amount of sales calls that I was on because we had CISOs in other organizations that were saying, hey, like, you're going to have some of our proprietary data.
Got it.
We want to make sure that it's secure.
That makes sense. I think I know where you're coming from, because you're basically trying to figure out like what somebody is. I mean, ultimately, because every company is different, right? Some companies, it may be, well, I'm sure, like, for example, because of the way that you're taking in consumer data, there's a level of data privacy stuff that you also have to look through, right?
Definitely.
So like CCPA, for example. So do you use some sort of technology manager? Because that's always been, I've been curious about that. How do you do it?
We do. And I always say that I can't do my job unless I know the data that we have.
Yeah.
So there's securing the perimeter from, attackers.
Yeah.
And then there is securing your crown jewels, or the data that's coming in that may not be public data, and understanding what that data is.
And how do you find that information today? Like what? Because I mean, I'm sure it's like everywhere, right?
We have a platform. We use a vendor.
Which vendor?
I'm not going to tell you.
Why? I love hearing about it. But what is this? I mean, what do they call this space? Just so I can research it later. Because I know security AI, I've heard of Big ID and this thing and that thing. So I'm just curious, is that the kind of space of things?
Data governance.
DSPM.
Yeah, DSPM.
Damn it, Gartner.
It's really, I know.
Damn
seriously. Any more acronyms we could use, that would be great. Having that classification.
Yeah.
And understanding if I have a breach tomorrow.
Where is it? Sort of.
Do I have to report that breach? What's the data that's in there?
Yeah.
If it's all public data,
you're all good.
It minimizes the risk. It goes back to the risk again. If I have PII in there, what level of PII? Is it anonymized? Is it in
plain text or whatever? Yeah.
Right.
Or in
it would not be. It would definitely not be in plain text.
It wouldn't be in plain text?
No.
I thought that was like normal common practice.
So, but still, you want to understand what's potentially been exposed.
Correct. Fair.
Because that helps inform the risk, and it helps to inform whether or not there's materiality. And of course, the SEC regulations that came out.
So CarGurus is public, right?
Yes.
So this is a scary moment for you.
It's not. It's
No?
not a scary moment for me. No. You know why? I feel like our organization took it seriously. They invested the appropriate resources. We already had great documentation in place already. And I'm really thankful because we have a board of directors, a CEO, an executive team that understands the importance of security.
Yeah.
So I don't have to sell it.
You're not like really forcing it. Is that what you're saying?
I don't have to sell it.
So like
because they know the importance of it.
No, that's so important too, that somebody's on the same page as you, because if you're working on something, you're like, listen, this is super critical, and they're like, whatever. That doesn't make any sense, right?
I think that there's some education that goes
into it.
Right? And again, speaking the business speak, like I did.
But when you say business speak, what are we talking about here?
So I did a presentation to our senior leadership team.
Uh-huh.
And I talked about, like, the levels of maturity of security.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to hear about, you know, the maturity model. Their eyes are going to glaze over.
No.
They're not, whatever, snoozer. So what I did is I presented it in such a way that people could relate to. We have a lot of skiers and snowboarders on that team. So what I did is I developed a deck, and I said, here's a bunny hill, here's a green circle on the slope, here's a blue square, here's a black diamond, here's a double black diamond.
I love it. Do you ski?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool.
My family is mostly snowboarders, but you know, I just go mostly now to take a couple runs and sit by the fire. I'm old.
Gosh, yeah. Well, you're not that old, Kelly. I don't know what world you're living in.
Yeah.
No, I think it's actually it's a good way of like kind of describing it, right? Because someone's gonna go in, they're gonna understand. They need to be. What can they understand is it's in a way that anyone can understand. It's like, well, this is what's easy, green. This is what's medium, blue, and then this is what's insanely different.
Well, where we are from a maturity perspective, and then you take that and you say, okay, this is how this would impact your area, whether it's finance, sales, marketing. And then when you correlate that back, the light bulb goes on.
Right.
Because you're relating it back to what I care about.
Yeah, got it. And then that's something that they also understand and care about, and obviously they'll be able to make a kind of a firmer or better decision based on that. So I get it. Business speak, aka analogies.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it is important.
You have to be relatable.
So when you what would you say is a green?
Well, I can't assess that from, I guess, an industry standard. I could, but every organization is different.
Right.
So what may be a green circle in my organization?
Well, as an example, just curious, what would be like a...
No, maybe you don't have any policies. Maybe you're just starting to develop that. Maybe there's...
so that's like it's not the end of the world kind of a thing.
Yeah. Well, it is the end of the world.
Oh, that meaning green is in like this
green is like immaturity. Okay? You're still on the easy slope.
Yeah. Guys, there's a lot more things to get through. We got to go through all the greens ASAP.
When you're at the black diamond or the double black diamond,
now you're there.
However, just because that you're on that black diamond doesn't mean that you could stay there. You could break a leg, and now you're back to the green, so right? What would the breaking the leg equate to? You're
almost like thinking of it as like, how good do you ski? Are you on these slopes or are you on these slopes? But if you're in like green, technically it's not very green. It's actually kind of bad.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But if you break your leg,
then you got to go down.
Like yeah. Let's not even go there. But then I was back on the green again. So equate breaking your leg to a breach.
A breach.
You have to not start all over again, but you have the basics and the fundamentals, but now you have to go back and say, where did I go wrong? Or where was there a gap?
Right.
Because there's gaps in everything, right? It's a matter of risk.
Yeah. It's a matter of risk and like, what can you do to make something, well, I don't want to say better, but like, hey, you have to understand the risk that you had mentioned earlier. It's like, okay, something went wrong. What do I do about it? Or how do I like, get back to the bunny slope and make sure I make it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on that bunny slope, you probably don't have detection or any kind of prevention on your network, right? It's kind of a free for all.
Maybe not even SSO.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes SSO can be a little tough to implement every single place, But I mean, people try, right? I mean,
but it does go back to the maturity of the organization.
Yeah.
And as a security professional, you have to assess where that organization is at, because a startup is not going to have the same level of security.
Yeah,
right, or certifications like a SOC 2, Type 2.
Actually, to be honest, though, we have to have it on day one. When we released the product on GA day, we had SOC 2, because otherwise, no one's gonna buy it.
You did, right? But not everybody does that. You're in security,
yeah that's
so that's.
Well, I knew that everyone's gonna ask for it, so there's no point of releasing a product without it.
But if you have,
we're back at RSA Moscone, by the way.
Yeah. Oh wow, the amount of times I've walked it down this path.
Yeah.
In the past couple of days, I have a lot of steps.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a zoo. But you know, one of my other guests was telling me about how there's almost like multiple conferences here. You know, there's this one which is like where people are walking the expo floor, and then there's a completely different area where we're having our meetings and everything like that. You know,
I haven't walked the expo floor yet.
You got it.
I know. It's after this.
I haven't done it either. I don't know why I'm telling you.
Well, it was important for me to connect with people this week.
Yeah.
It's like I was walking down the street,
yeah.
and I saw somebody. Well, they saw me, and they were going to ask me a question, and they said, "Kelly, I'm so and so," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, we've talked on Zoom."
And then you guys meet here in person.
Yeah, we didn't even know that we were going to be here.
There's your boy David Christensen.
Yeah, Dave. Love Dave.
Nice guy.
Talk to him all the time.
They're so supportive of me, you know? Like, I mean, I think that's been the best blessing is like everyone, build a community of people that actually are trying to support you and help you, you know? And I mean, I guess it goes both ways too. Like if you have a problem and there's something I can help with, that's what we try to do, or that's what I try to do, you know?
So I love that. That's what I love about you is the community at large. I don't feel like it's completely shifted yet.
Yeah.
Like help each other out.
Always.
We're all in the same, like we're all experiencing the same pains.
And we might be looking for, I mean, for example, a new job, a new this, and it's like, hey, how can you help someone make, change their life, for example?
Make the connection.
People changed my life for the better. So for me, and I'm sure for you as well, somebody was there to support you.
Multiple people.
And that is what we have to do for other people.
I'm giving back as much as I can.
And I mean, it's a very simple thing if you really think about it. It's not actually that complicated to give back. You just
make a connection.
Exactly. Easy.
Have a conversation.
Say hi on whatever, and honestly, then once you people know that about you, then it's much easier.
I mean, you're a connector. Everybody knows you. I mean, when we were just standing there by the car, how many people showed up? You know, hey, I saw you. I follow you. Wow, you're so great. Oh hi. Everybody knows you.
I am really, really blessed that I worked at big companies that everyone used to work at. And these guys, you know, like Nico that I was with yesterday, he just taught me so much. I mean, think about what we're doing at RSA is all a byproduct of being at Semantic and Forest Point and learning what works, what doesn't work. And even from a product perspective, why do you think that you have a pain? What are the pains that your security team face are all things that it's very difficult for you to translate that to the product management team because you're going through the executives and this and that. It's a nightmare. Instead, if it was just easier for you to pick up the phone, and let's just say you called me and I'm like, listen, it's all good, Kelly. Send them to Aiden. He's the head of product, right? Or send them to Erica. She's our head of UX and design. So, these are the right people. And not just that, but or if we can at least have the conversation from us, our perspective, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. Huge.
Knowledge sharing is important. Now, obviously, there's, some legal things you're not going to be able to share, but
we try to be open about it. For example, there's a guy named Travis Farrell. He's a friend of mine. He's the CISO of Archaea Energy. And so he was like, Kunal, I want to understand, it's just for my own edification. How do you build a mechanism to collate the data from OneDrive, Google, and take it and run it through essentially OpenAI? How does the APIs work? What is the fundamental architecture? And I'm like, all right, well, one, Shapur runs, he was the founder of Chronicle, Google Chronicle, so that's one good that got to go. But we built a product around this, so why don't I just connect you with our internal engineering team and call it a day? Easy.
And did he?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Awesome.
It's actually kind of cool because it's like, he can understand something. He's like, oh, because his question was like, I don't know, I'm trying to understand how do I take an LLM and instrument it? Because you know when you type in ChatGPT, right? There's one thing is chatting it, putting it in the LLM. The other thing is instrumenting an API around it, right? That's more complicated, and so that's what he was trying to understand.
How are you parsing out what's factual and what isn't?
So ultimately, the main reason we use OpenAI is for that CASB Neural product, right? So if you go in and dopamine DLP, but if you go in and you do that, we don't actually have to worry too much about is it 100% accurate, because ultimately it's a step up above what was there before, which is terrible, right? If a regex is just this is a 16-digit number, ultimately it's just saying 16-digit number, this is a credit card number. 16-digit number, this is a credit card number. and it's using those signals, and then you're writing a policy on it, that's actually the worst false positive rate in the planet. So you see so it's like when people say LLM, oh, it's so inaccurate, and how do you know it's accurate, and what if it's a problem? Like, I mean, it's a very fair question if you were talking about some sort of a medical device system. But for what we're doing, I mean, this is beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. And so all these use cases have to be humanizable, let's call it, right? How can someone understand it and call it a day?
Goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
So if you take a QA mentality for it, how would you QA a product like that? Well, it's like, can I do this at scale? Can I do it with 1 million files? Can I do it with this? Can I do that? And that's how we end up building a QA test plan, which Mohan and Ken basically lead the QA stuff. And they're both amazing, right? They know how to do it, and they can go in and do it. So it's all these things that even you're telling me, I'm like, all right, fair enough, we should be doing that. And the same way that we think about these things is actually exactly what you were thinking about earlier.
Awesome.
But what you kind of have built here, at least at CarGurus, I think it's pretty cool because it's really, well, I think it's pretty dope. But because it's like something actually different, because you're actually controlling the full end-to-end stuff. The compliances from the consumer perspective. You have to deal with all of that. And then people are making payments and things like that on there as well, right?
We have a finance option, and our finance provider will go in and they'll run the credit checks and everything. And then you have to take that and then apply those controls across all external pieces. But then you also, I assume, have to do it internally as well. Right? Well, we have third parties that we integrate with. Sure. So we have to make sure that,
so what's your favorite?
Have good
do you like the data
security
part, or do you like the sort of internal IT systems part, meaning like the internal security of the employees and things like that? Or what's your favorite part of all of that? Just curious.
I have a passion for data privacy.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of my thing. I love it. It's interesting to me. It's a big problem to solve. It's a big problem to solve.
So then, I mean, if you love it so much, like, do you ever help out like startups and things like that around this stuff? Like advise them, or I don't know. I mean, it's not really advising, but I mean, yeah, fine, advising. Let's call it advising.
I've really started, I would say, in the past 2 years in getting more involved with startups and, to your point earlier, giving back.
That's so helpful, right?
Lessons learned, or hey, have you thought about X, Y, and Z?
Do you advise any startups or anything or people today or anything like that?
I'm on Merlin Ventures.
Oh yeah, they're having a thing
I'm on their
here.
advisory. Yep, they are. I actually had a woman in leadership breakfast at 7:30 this morning.
Okay, nice. So you're actually...
Good thing they had coffee.
So you're actually helping on multiple fronts on this area. But I like the way you approach it though, because your goal is not necessarily to, kind of force it, right? You're trying to look for the things that you really like, that you're passionate about, and pushing yourself forward. Not just that, hey, I'm passionate about cyber. It's like, I actually really like data. Let me help those out.
And honestly, if there's, you don't want to have a conflict of interest.
That's true.
So if we're bringing in technology in-house, so part of my job, right, is to go out and assess new tech and bring it back and say, hey, I think this may be a fit, or it's, if it's not a fit, and bring it to my team.
Yeah.
And have them, empower them to do the evaluation. Mm-hmm. And then if it is a fit, potentially being a design partner. So that's another way to help give back.
Yeah, it's like a very non-conflicted way of doing it, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not getting compensated or anything. That's right, but you're giving back to the community in some way. And by the way, the benefit to the organization is we help get what we want.
Yeah. So you work with a lot of startups, or do you mainly get big company vendors? I'm just curious.
It's a mix. It's a mix. It's like your financial portfolio.
So why
you have to diversify? Yeah.
But that's actually beautiful. I love it. But then why? What makes you choose a startup? Like, what makes them stand out?
It depends on what is on our strategic roadmap.
Yeah. Okay.
So
but I mean, there must be some criteria. Otherwise, you won't. And there must be something above, right?
Well, I mean, if there is something that we are looking to implement, then I will look at the different portfolios that are exposed to me, and I'll say, do any of them fit?
Okay, so you're actually very unbiased, if I'm hearing you correctly. They're actually like, hey, I'm diversified. for what it's worth, I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I'm just like, look, if it fits the bill, sounds good to you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You have.
I love it. So you don't actually bias against or bias for.
No, I mean, I think you got to do what's best for the business.
Yeah. But I love that diversification. You're just like, look, it's fine if you want whatever you want, but what your team wants, then it's okay as long as you're actually a proponent.
No, I mean, the team has to ultimately make the decision.
Fair.
I bring the ideas and the technology back to them based on the strategy.
You're right.
And hey, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, there could be that opportunity there where we say, hey, it wasn't a fit for our organization, but I know X, Y, and Z organization in my network that might
be helpful,
or it might, they might be able to benefit. And then you do the intro, giving back again. Or, hey, I really think that you have something here. Let me help you.
Yeah.
And then you start an advisory relationship.
So do you, 2 follow-up questions. Like one, just on the whole, let's call it the company to product or whatever life cycle. So when you purchase from people, do you use like the VARs and stuff like that?
I do.
And I always ask to everyone, but like why? I'm only curious because I've found it to be helpful for economies of scale, but I'm just curious why as a CISO you've chosen to go down that path.
So I have a mix. Again, diverse.
As always, Kelly, with you, there's a mixed bag.
There's a mixed bag. Never know what you're gonna get. Yeah, so in some situations, VARs will be able to get you a better deal.
Okay.
Right? Or there's a very small margin.
Like they can basically what's it called? Negotiate on your behalf.
Yeah. There's also some companies you cannot buy direct. I'm not going to name any names, but there are some organizations where you cannot buy.
We're one of those.
You can't buy direct from you. Come on. George just got his Louis. Of course you can buy direct.
He actually sold that through GuidePoint.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the reason why companies say that, although I will say that 99.999 of our business do go through channels. The reason why companies say that is because they don't want a channel partner to get spooked. That's why we say that. But ultimately, if you were like, Kunal, I'm not gonna spend this through a partner, I'm gonna buy it through you, then what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna be like, oh, sorry.
Well, there are organizations that do say that. No, sorry. And the challenge sometimes with that is you're now dealing with another company on their term sheets, and you have one more person that you have to go through, like if your legal team needs to negotiate a contract.
That's true, yeah. One more,
so now you're going directly to that VAR, but that VAR is actually, there's another dope security
LED truck.
Wow, you're all over.
You're gonna be over that. You're gonna be on that next time.
Oh wow, can't even imagine.
But I think it's a really interesting conversation for sure, right? And maybe the next thing I was gonna ask you is like, okay, you talked a lot about how you advise, or not advise, but help companies that are new, that maybe need an in, that might be trying to make it, and so on and so forth. But what about people that want to be you one day?
So I do mentor people.
Really?
Yeah.
The people
Again,
in the
you
company?
have to give
in the
back.
company or out of the company?
Both.
Nice.
You know why? I had people that helped me along the way.
Yeah.
And they gave me opportunities. They gave me guidance. They saw me through some great times and some not so great times, and you don't understand the value of having those people in your life
until
you've been through it.
I mean, I have so many people to thank for where I am today, so I completely get it. I mean, there's nothing, you can't do anything on your own, so it makes sense.
My boss at my last organization, I call him my sponsor. He's my sponsor for life. If he calls me, it doesn't matter what time or day, I'm picking up the phone.
That's so funny. I'm the same way. I like sometimes they hit me up. I'm like, yo, even if I pick up just to say, hey, like I'm just in the middle of something, but I swear I'll call you back, just so that they make sure they feel like not ignored or anything like that.
It doesn't matter. I will drop anything and everything. Amazing. Because he's just given me so much. And so if he calls me or he asks me for something and I can help him, I'm going to do it.
But what would you recommend for someone who wants to be you one day or be a CISO one day?
Don't stop trying. There's going to be a lot of people out there that that may challenge you. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Use that, fuel that. Continue to learn. And by the way, just because you're, sitting in the driver's seat, it doesn't mean that you stop learning. Always. Like I went back and got my master's a couple of years ago during COVID.
What was the reason?
I've been looking at programs for years. I was like, do I want to go back for my MBA? Do I want to go to law school? But I wanted to make sure that wherever I went, I was going to be passionate about it because I knew the time commitment that I was going to have to put in.
Yeah.
And I found this mix of a program where it was privacy law and cybersecurity.
Oh, got it.
So it was like it was an information security and compliance.
You love data privacy.
I do.
You love it.
I do.
Oh my gosh, you're such a nerd, just like me.
I am.
Well, Kelly, first off, I have to say this has been really, really fun.
Same.
It's very difficult to find people that love privacy and data security as much as you. So what I gotta tell you is thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna see you very soon, and this is gonna be super fun.
Awesome. I can't wait to see the trucks rolling by in Boston.
It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna feel famous.
You already are.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
See you soon?
Definitely.